I do have 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting of budget finance here. I know this is not January 16th. We've missed a little bit of time there, due to, some, white conditions, it seems like, out on the ground here. So hope everyone's had a safe travel in tonight. We appreciate you making your way this way. Before we, get too far into, the pieces, I do want us to look on item 4 on budget amendments. There are a couple we're going to strike tonight, if that's okay by the committee. We're looking at the payroll clerk position, 10109 FB. Looking at striking that one tonight for time truly is where we are and having discussions. We didn't get to have that discussion last week and any of those pieces. So for time and the work session tonight, we thought it best to strike that one. Also, the generator on the admin building, which is 10114A. Looking to strike that one as well. More discussions at this time really is what we're talking about. Time. Weather has put a few things crunched here, so we'll get some discussion time on those before they come to play. Also, we need to add. That number on there somewhere. I know it's in my phone. There we go. Also, to budget finance, we do need to add at this time for discussion. The fire department has had a compressor that fills their SCBA bottles, the fireman breathing bottles, as we might call for fire situations. The compressor that fills those has stopped working currently. I think last Tuesday might have been the day they found out it was no longer able to fill bottles. I think currently they can get them filled if need be in a surrounding fire departments, kind of helps that out, but has put in a request to purchase a new one. I think, and Mr. Beeler is here in a little bit to discuss that piece. We'll go further into it, but I want to add that to the our agenda tonight. That will be 10115 FB fire compressor. With that stated, is everyone clear on the agenda for tonight? Also, if you want to now, we can move into the meeting and look at reviewing your minutes. I know it's been a little while. That's probably not too fresh on our brains, this meeting. So if you need to read them clear, you're welcome to. Mr. Ford. Mr. Ford has a motion to approve the minutes as written. Have a second. Mr. Dennis. Any discussion on that? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes as written, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion does carry. Your B, your financial summaries piece, we'll try to just for link tonight. If there's something you've had these in your hand a little while, or not in your hand, maybe in paper copy, but they were emailed to us over a week ago. I think the Friday or Thursday before the Monday freeze here came. So they've been in our hands. If there's something you need to go through and see that we want to go through, but we'll try to move through these somewhat quickly due to the amount of items we have tonight.
And these are December reports. I just realized they are November.
They are December, not November. I did see that. I didn't know. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh, any questions there, as you're looking through? Um, yeah, I look at that front page there, and when I say front page, the second page, not the, trial balance, but the back side of the trial balance there, it's always good to see those comparisons. It appears that those are running pretty well in line with the past, if not a little below on each of them. That's always a great thing to see. Spending, expenses are running well. Revenues are running a little bit behind in a few of them as well, but, seem to be, uh, okay as we are. Any questions in the 101? Any items to discuss? You should be looking at 50% as you're looking at your numbers though. Any line items of interest in the 101 under the revenue side? If I move too quick, we can always slow down and just try to keep us at a pace that we might can make it for a meeting at 7 o'clock. If not, moving into the expenditure side of the 101.
Random limit for 11,000. That'll help offset that. She knew it was coming, so she's already spent some money.
Okay. Any questions in the expenditure side?
Insurance and fuel. Right there. But yeah, insurance premiums, 9 to 12.
If not, in the 101 discussions there, looking at urban service 111, looking at the revenue side. And we'll go to 111 there then. We'll move 116. And like I said, this is not our normal pace on these pieces, but as we see, things have gotten a little crunched. Nothing in 116, 118 ambulance. Your next is the 121 and 122. Those are pass-through funds. We see them come in, we see them go out. It's pretty much as that, how that will work. Moving to 151 debt service. You'll see debt service looks high. You'll remember that's gonna run high for this year due to the changeover where we paid off consolidated those into one account. That's gonna look that way. It's just gonna offset the loop. There has been no additional extra payments or anything extra put together. Currently. Your next one, 171. The 171 fund has been discussed in the past. It was where the core civic monies were rolling into, which is set up to roll in 300,000 per year rolls into that account. This would have been the second payment the year before. It wasn't set up, and that money didn't go into this account. So there is only one payment going into this account. You see the items that are there. There will be, I'm sure, quite a bit of discussion in this 371 or 171 for a little while here. At least to get you an idea of what the numbers are that hold those accounts and what those mean at this point. 131, your highway fund, mostly in and out. I think the county, as you'll see, there has 108,000 of budgeted money from the county that goes into that. The rest of those funds are primarily state funded, the gasoline tax mostly. Commissioners still receive a monthly, I believe it is, update from the highway department. I appreciate those coming to us and knowing where money's spent. It's very, very open to where money's at, and you know what that business is running like. Or department. 141 schools. Last month we had Dr. Satterfield, I say last month on the quarter, be back coming our way in March with the beginnings of what the next budgets would look like and where we are currently. Fortunately, revenues throughout the entire piece look to be coming in very strong. Are there any questions on the financial summaries, item B, at this point? If you want to go back through it, you're welcome to go back through it. We can take as much time here as you wish. I do not want to rush anybody to feel uncomfortable where we've gone through. I will remind us, these have been in our hands and available to us for over a week and a half. That's the only reason I'm saying we had questions and we probably should have been ready to go with them. No questions? All right, if you will, I would take a I would like an approval there of the financial summaries of, that is of December financial summaries. I take, entertain a motion, got a motion to approve, second. Any discussion on that motion, there in this case?
Who made the motion?
Mr. Gregory and seconded by Ms. Atkins. Sorry about that. If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is, in this case, has been approved through by the Budget and Finance. As we will look now, we have a few budget amendments to discuss. Your first one, 10108 FB, insurance premiums. And that seems to be an ever-present piece that insurance is going to go up. You see there, $14,400. And all the places it's laid out to. Insurance premiums increased effective January 1st, 2024. County Commission, our county contribution increased from $588 to $617.23 on 81 employees have opted for health insurance. Yes, sir.
Make a motion, we will recommend approval.
Make a motion to recommend approval of this full body. Motion by Mr. Ford, second by Mr. Dennis. Any discussion on that? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It does pass with a favorable recommendation for full body. Your next, as we said there, that next one is stricken to the next month at this point. Time and discussions. The senior citizen grant. On the next one, we're moving to 10110G, senior citizen, senior center GNRC grant amendment, $11,958. As you'll see there in this case. We can see where it's going. Sorry, y'all got off. Was reading something and one processing for a second. Amendment to the original GNRC aging program contract to provide for salary compensation and community support services. It's broken down there into senior citizen, adult activity, senior citizen, senior center overtime. There's that word that keeps coming up a lot. Senior center overtime. There's 3,000 of those dollars of that 11,958, and the remaining portion, other materials and supplies. I do not know what those other materials and supplies are.
I believe it's tables and chairs, if I remember correctly.
That is laid out as tables and chairs, we think.
I think.
It's grant money coming through. Mr. Ford, motion to approve. Second, Mr. Connie Belcher. Any discussion further on that? I would say I'd try to get you more information on what that materials and supplies are gonna be for sure. We believe it is tables and chairs, but we have a meeting later tonight, so we won't get it if we're gonna put it on tonight's. We have a favorable recommendation motion. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It does pass favorably. Your next you'll see is an insurance recovery, 10111. Vehicle repair on the sheriff's jail building repair. Insurance recovery for sheriff's department incident with patrol vehicle, incident from storm damage in September would be on the jail repair.
It's just recovery money.
Yes, sir. Insurance recovery. Mr. Ford,
Make a motion approve.
motion to approve. Mr. Gregory has a second. Is that correct, Mr. Gregory? Any discussion further on that? If not, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Any opposed? it is favorable. 101-12G. We're looking at, here, in this case, your request, is hereby made for the 101 General Services for the Budget Homeland Security Grant, EMPG, Emergency Management Performance Grant. Full grant amount is $5,535, appropriating the remaining amount to EMA other equipment. I do not know. Do they have a purchase out currently for it?
No,
Currently is just going into that line item, not a plan to purchase.
Mhm.
So we're moving funds. There was a total grant, $5,535 that has already came through. We're moving funds from one line item to another. Motion to approve, second by Mr. Rancock. Have a motion and second in favor of recommendation. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion does carry. Um, 101-13 overtime adjustments. A word that we continue to see quite a bit lately, the word overtime. This is all shit, right?
No, the first two lines are your county clerk. Tisk. Yeah, we do have money for that, but we're just moving it from her deputy line item to overtime. That's within the function.
So the planning overtime is money that's already
And
in,
then-
just lined up, moving over.
So then the next section, I'm taking money from the courtroom security deputy that is unused funding in that line item. Also taking from the clerical personnel, the warrant clerk, again, and it's an
Not a
unused, right, it's not a hired position. Just taking money from those two line items to fund the remaining in planning, sheriff, drug enforcement, and jail.
In saying funding that, and I think I read this way, this is for hoping to fund it full the rest of the year.
Hoping.
This is not money that's already been spent. This is pre-looking
Mhm.
at the piece, making sure we're all clear on that.
Well, all of a sudden, we got all this overtime.
Mhm.
Why?
A lot of it has to do with our current personnel policy as I believe it is holidays count as time worked now. So if there was a holiday during the week, such as this last week where you had Martin Luther King Day, that's counted as time worked instead of non-overtime. So they can count that 8 or 10 hours, however long they're regularly scheduled, towards their full 40 hours for that time period. That has not happened before August 2022. Yeah,
Is this in addition to his budget?
this is for everybody. Then also with the sheriff's departments, it's because they're short-staffed. And so he's having to use his current staff to make up for those hours.
Well, no, I wonder when he's gonna be able to do the jail bill. You know, he's gonna have more people.
Sheriff Russell's not here to answer to those. You hear what's in front of us, overtime expenditures and where we're setting. This is a plan. Not all money is spent. This is not trying to catch up money. This is trying to make it through the rest of the year with this money. Fortunately, this is just coming out. It's not additional money going into the sheriff's budget. It is moving funds from other areas inside the sheriff's. The courtroom security deputy has not been hired. The jail clerical personnel warrant clerk has not been hired, so it's moving those funds around.
We're not, this amendment is moving money from the sheriff's budget to the planning office budget.
That is true.
Is that a normal occurrence?
It can be. If I know that those funds are available, I can move those to a different department. It's not that we're taking money away from the sheriff. If he does end up hiring either of those two positions, money is still there to finish out the year.
But we're moving it from one budget to another budget. Right, that's what we're doing.
So we're not pulling it from fund balance. We're not transferring it from ARPA. It's within the general 101 funds.
I think maybe a way of looking at that conversation would be at the end of the year, any money left over in the sheriff's budget would set in the 101, so it's in the same piece. I do see what you're asking there in this case. I don't recall a time we've moved from one budget to another.
Will this affect the planning budget next year?
No, ma'am. Whatever is set by the commission coming up in May and June.
You will see the budget and the the original budget and the amended budget, and we'll know there was an amended budget. Here's why. Is that what you're asking? Okay, might it show that there's a need? We'll see why. Planning overtime is for what purpose at this time?
She's working a lot of hours. There's no help in that office. She's having to do inspections. She's having to do the regular office management. There's just a lot of
I'm
hours.
not begrudging any of that. I'm just asking questions and trying to get informed. That's
Okay. I guess my question here, and I should have asked this prior to now, is there not money left over in that budget to cover?
In planning.
Yes.
This commission did not set an amount for a building inspector. So we're just working off an office manager salary at this time.
So the original money that was there for the building inspector at the start of the year wasn't there?
You didn't budget for it.
There we go.
Yeah.
A while past me, I guess, at that point, we still did not have one at that time.
It was to be determined. We were going to see how the state inspectors and that arrangement worked out.
There we go, timing.
Mhm.
Is everyone clear with where we are? Do we have any motion from the body? I'll ask again, do we have any motion from the body?
Explain the holiday pay for the
Mhm.
search department, they working their 12 hour shift and they getting paid the 8 hours or 12 hour holiday pay.
So, yeah, basically, yes, they also
They
get
miss
holiday.
that day, they get paid holiday, so that's time and a half. or-
Right, right. So they'll get time and a half, but those hours also count towards the 40 hours that week. So I'm trying to think of a good example to illustrate all of this. So beforehand, if we had holiday pay, that would be that I worked 32 hours, regular hours that week. But now with that holiday, I've worked 40 hours, even though technically I didn't work 8 of those. But it's now counted towards that. So if I have any overtime or anything above 40 hours, well, not this year, but previous.
What I'm hearing you see, why is this changed and why is it looking different today than it did in the past? We, as a commission, voted in a salary scale, I'm trying to come up with the entire word there that I'm looking for. What was that called? The plan of
The wage study.
wage study piece. This was all housed inside
Well,
where we are.
there's that, but it's also the holiday. So your holiday hours are counted as time worked now. It's a whole different
So that
calculation.
was inside that is why that's happening.
I think that was a benefit that was advised to add.
It was inside that piece is where it was brought in. That's the change we're seeing. I've asked the same question. This came about in that wage study. It might be something that,
I forgot what to talk about.
Yeah. so it's understandable. It's something we're gonna start seeing more and more of. Because of where that piece is at. Any other questions? Do I hear any motion towards favorable recommendation or not? It is currently not money that has been spent.
Kind of half and half. We are over budget on these items currently, and I'm just trying to plan for the rest of the year.
Or
Reading down here at the bottom, A lot of this came out of county clerk's office. It's
500 came, just 500 came from your county clerk.
So 500 came from clerks, 36,000 to $562. Courtroom security deputy, which has not been hired, a position that was never filled. And the 15,720 from the jail clerk, warrant officer, or warrant clerk that has not been filled. So no, sir, it's only 500 is coming from the county clerk overtime.
So this will get you through the rest of the,
I am hoping.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any further discussion on the item we see? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It does pass favorable. I understand your questions and I appreciate the willingness to ask through those. The next one, the generator, we are striking for this, at this point in time. We will bring that back to the next commission. If you want to know a little bit of that information, there is a generator issue at the admin office. So that is a piece we're going to have to look at where it's going. That's what this is coming from. As I said, for tonight's sake and time, I thought it might add too much discussion in pieces. We will strike it from the piece. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I know exactly what you're pointing to now. So our next one that we will come to is that 10115 FB, which has been added. I don't know that you have this in your, you do have it over there. I'm sorry. Pieces are a little.
Probably under the sales tax graph. Pick up two pieces of paper.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for laying it.
Yeah.
So this is the compressor that we were discussing there. Mr. Beeler, do you mind if it'd be all right with our committee here? Mr. Beeler wanted to speak on what he's seeing and where we're at currently.
And I made some bullet points that,
Thanks,
and
sir.
I'm not sure I made enough for everybody.
Was that under the back?
I've got one.
Oh, it's a different. one.
Yeah, I need money tonight.
His annual report was in the jacket.
Last week, we had our compressor that fills the breathing air bottles to tank bottles. We went on a call Tuesday afternoon, got back to refill bottles, compressor wouldn't kick on. One of the deals, we only have one compressor in the building. It's not the kind of thing that you have spares or backups for. It's a highly specialized type of piece of equipment that compresses the air and fills cylinders with purified and clean air that's firemen are capable of breathing in under hazardous conditions. The compressor that we have in the building was manufactured in January of 1997, so it's 27 years old. This is the first major incident that we've had, but it would not start and it would not build pressure at all. When we first installed it in the building, we were filling bottles that held 2,216 PSI pressure, and that would provide breathing air for 15 to 20 minutes for a fireman. And then after that, the bottles have to be exchanged and you go through the process all over again. About 10 years ago, we upgraded and went to bottles that hold 4,500 PSI, meaning that a fireman could almost double his time in a hazardous condition and go for close to 30 minutes on a single bottle. And then you go back and you refill and do it again. Currently, we have 8 air packs. And that would be face piece harness with a cylinder that stays mounted on the trucks. So 8 full, ready to go packs And then we keep 26 spare bottles that can be replaced and put on the packs and the harness. With this failure, we began looking at two directions. One direction was a repair direction. We identified a vendor that we normally work with that sent a technician out last Thursday. He thinks he has diagnosed the problem with being a start switch and a pressure switch. Next step is to try to find the parts that match a 27-year-old compressor. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, and so far since Thursday, I have not heard back from him. I did reach out at the same time and that I let Mr. Gully know what our situation was. I approached the 3 vendors that I normally use for different equipment. Probably 90+% of my fire equipment comes from one of 3 vendors. And I told them what we needed, asked them to provide a quote for a new machine. I did receive a quote from one of them. The second vendor, NAFCO, informed me that they could not bid on the project because they are a dealer for the same brand that I got the quote, and they don't compete against one another. They have non-compete clauses where they can't be evaluated and judged for the same job at the same department. The third company has not provided me a vendor yet, but they are the company that is providing the service tech. At this juncture, we do not know what the cost of repair will be. The bottom line is we've got to have an air compressor one way or the other, either a repaired one or a new one. The only quote I got for the new one brings us to $31,809.29. That's through Sidon's Martin Emergency Group. That is an installed price. They do have the machine available and it is ready. I bring this to your attention tonight because I didn't want to let another month go by and us not have some direction to move on. I did, in taking a proactive step, we had an opportunity to apply for a grant through the State Fire Marshal's office earlier this year. We had included the air compressor in that grant application simply because we knew it was 27 years old and we needed to upgrade. Last week, I was notified that we were denied our application on the grant. So, Landon, I'm here with my hand stuck out one way or the other to try to get a compressor for the fire department. Questions?
I think you did a great job there going through that piece. I appreciate it. I think we see what we've gotten in our hands here in this case. There may be a chance to repair. I know we can currently get filled if we have to in a neighbor, but it's not close by.
It's not the best plan in the world at all, but yes.
It's not close by and it's not easily accessible in those situations. So you see what's in front of us. The ask for amount right now at 35,000. That's out of fund balance. We have some options, I guess, if you want to go ARPA, if you want to approve this, or wherever the body wants to move with this piece.
I just need a little direction on which way to go and as we move forward in the next few months.
I would like to say this, even if we go with the new, I would hope if the old can be repaired.
We'll see if we can, Landon. We're working on that aim.
Not knowing where we are. I know he and I talked Thursday night, Wednesday night. Wednesday
I
night.
got the service tech in on Thursday.
Okay. We talked Wednesday night and just discussed, is it repairable? I mean, Tuesday was when we found out it doesn't work. So that's kind of where we are here today.
This has
So
been a rush job and I apologize for springing it on you quickly, but
I did ask Mr. Beller in terms of the quote amount, and not having but one quote, in an emergency piece, he pulled that up if we need it. We're fine with where we are on that 31,000.
Also, this company that produced the quote is a part of a government bidding program, a contract co-op. So that substitutes for bid search if you go that route. So you're covered from that angle as well.
Good to hear on all those pieces. I've got a question behind you first. Ms. Overman?
The grant that we talked about a minute ago, the 101-126-12G. All of that's already spent, the 3,500. And it's all in EMA, other equipment. We couldn't possibly use some of that to pay for this.
That is more of a question for Chief Beatty, because that is his grant for Emergency Management Agency.
Okay.
No, yeah, I was transferring those pieces, just like the planning or conversation, a little bit more fun sometimes. It is. I wanted to mention this. Miss Amy says fund balance would be a fine draw here on that 35,000. We do have in the ARPA, 2 ARPA funds that are still available. The 128 has roughly 452,000. The 127 has about 125,000. Our fund balance is fine to draw from right now at this point as well. So I'll put those pieces in front of the body. You see where we stand in an emergency situation. Hopefully, the other one can be fixed, and maybe we have 2 working compressors at that time. It's even faster filling up bottles at that time. That's kind of where my view on this one is. But I do know this, if we have an issue tomorrow, I would rather our firefighters be, and I know tomorrow it still won't be fixed, but as soon as we can possibly fix it. Mr. Ford?
Even if you get it fixed, it's still going to be.
Yes.
Boy, I look at it. I'd recommend that we just make that a hard funds and go ahead and purchase if needed. You're gonna have to have it. Even if he gets it fixed, 3 weeks now, maybe no more.
The old one had been slow, it maxes out at 5,000 PSI. The bottles we're trying to fill are 4,500 PSI, so it is slow as can be trying to fill the bottles in a current fashion. It will do it, but it's slow and labor.
How long will it take you to get a new compressor?
The sales rep talked like they had it in stock and could have it to us within a month. It's about as good as I'm gonna be able to tell you, and
No, I was just wondering if it was gonna be like 6 months or
I don't
something
know.
like that.
no, they had one in stock and available.
Mr. Ford, you make a motion to approve that out of ARPA funds, I'll second that.
Got a motion out of ARPA? Is that what you said?
That's what
Not
it
fund
says.
balance, ARPA? Motion to approve out of ARPA. 127, 128, doesn't matter, doesn't it to you?
I just need to know which one.
127 or 128. Matters not. They both have enough funds in there. Just, we'll go with 127. It's on the lower end and keep moving. Although any discussion further on that motion? A motion to approve this purchase drawing out of ARPA funds, 127, has 125,000, roughly a little over left in it. That 35,000 is the draw for a compressor for the fire department's SBA bottle fill up, which failed on them last Tuesday. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion as stated, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is approved. I think. Thank you.
And do you want me to stay around for the information meeting and talk about it? And
It's up to you, but I think it will be as necessary. as we
most
see.
of your commissioners here
There's
already.
a large committee over there, and I think.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Where we moving now? Insurance premiums again, right?
Yep.
Guys, we're trying to move on along with this. I know we got folks coming in. I would appreciate if we continue just to, we've still got a meeting going on. I know the other one's supposed to start at 7. We're gonna do the best we can to get there. So we still have some pieces of items of business to do. 11601 FB. I would ask that we're quiet in the back, though. We need to hear. I don't know where talking was. We need to be. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed one. I was told. Back up.
111.
That's where we're at. That's where.
11102.
Where you-
Oh, okay.
101 FB.
right here.
Turn the page. Thank you. I did miss one. 111 0201 there. I mean, I'm sorry. 01 and 02. Insurance premiums, they should be able to be taken together. These are two pieces that have no reason we couldn't have them together. What's the next? I was about to say, I think we can continue with the next
Yeah.
118 insurance premiums? Yeah, we can take these three insurance premiums together.
Take all three together.
That's that same reasoning as we see that $588 moved to $617 insurance increase. I have a motion in a second, Mr. Cochran there, to take those three together, and approved. Any discussion on that motion as stated?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving forward, I'm new to this, okay, so is there no way for us to budget for the insurance increases in the previous year? Is
I
there
nor-
no way to know that?
I normally do not know that until after the budget's passed. And then also you have to go through October and open enrollment to know who's going to take insurance.
That way.
That unfortunately. Good thought, but no. When your budget's in July and open enrollment's in October, and then we know when the new premiums are gonna come out based on who did, who's not in, that makes those differences. So we do have a motion to approve. I have a motion to approve all of them together, yes, sorry. Motion to approve all those together. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is approved. The next two pages are just showing you that ARPA funds 127. Oh, I
See
miss.
this one? One for each.
Yeah, get in a hurry. I gotta slow down. 14107 vocational education program. Thank you. As you see here in this case, 14171 300 vocational education program, 36,400 to purchase vocational greenhouse supplies and materials. I don't know if you've noticed, but the new greenhouse at the high school is, you can drive by there some point in time and check it out. I'm sure it's probably better to do it on off hours, but when school's not in session, or maybe tomorrow, since there's another snow day. It's slick still. But as we see, there's what this is for. It is a motion to approve. Got a motion and a second by Grant Cochran to approve. Any discussion on this item? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is approved. Sorry, now the next two I was talking about, there's your 127 and 128. Those are just the breakdowns that I was talking about a few minutes ago. That shows a different.
That's because that 140 is still on there.
Oh, correct. Sorry. When I spoke of the three, what I speak of a minute ago, 300 and some change a minute ago, that was, I'll get there in a minute.
452 and 125.
452,000 on the 128. I know it shows 312 on this document, the 140,000. If you'll notice on that bottom one there, that was that generator that we struck from this piece, so that will come back up at a later time. That's why that item was different than what we saw. Any questions? All right, we have what's the number?
That's for your next meeting.
This meeting, yes, we are.
Now you can talk about the finance of it. You and Will might be able to take that conversation.
You'll see the ARPA funds there. That was a line item, budget item 5. On the second one's, budget item 6, discussion items, financing purchase of the property of the county jail. I know there's some pieces coming up on that in the very near future, right after this meeting gets started. We can, there's gonna be a time here where we're gonna have to look at financing. Is this we don't know those financing pieces at this point in time. There's been some options that have been presented, but at this point in time, we will see that coming up in the near future. But it's just getting budget and finance mind around the fact that when a purchase comes to place, money has to be spent. I mean, I think we all understand that, but we need to have that conversation that money has to come from somewhere. Any questions on that discussion item? For sake of time, I'm gonna go on and scratch the goals for the FY25 budget. I know, folks, time is moving through. We've done the best we can to get to this point. Anything we need. I don't have any other. Does any members of the committee have any other to bring out this tonight? Before we do that, just a second, make sure there's no public comment. I don't disagree with you, but I will open it to public comment on the budget and finance side. Please understand what we're talking about here. Hearing none, I'll take that motion to adjourn and that second to adjourn. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye, you are adjourned. Thank you all.